Hey, so this is just going to be kind of a personal vlog thing about something that's going on in my life. And I guess I'm just making this in hopes of kind of working through it and connecting with other people who can maybe know more about this kind of stuff than I do. But basically, I know that I mentioned in previous videos that like, my whole life, I've kind of wondered if I was intersex and kind of passively, secretly kind of wished I was intersex. And so the reason I'm making this video is because I haven't really been able to find any resources about this, or haven't really been able to connect to any intersex people that I can talk to about this. But the thing is that I recently found out that I might actually be intersex, and that's kind of something that I'm working through and have been working through for a couple months now. I'm not really coming closer to any answers about that. Just because it's not that there's any uncertainty that I have a medical condition that I just recently found out about. It's just that the medical practitioners that I'm working with won't use the word intersex and won't really tell me like what's going on or what it would be classified as. Like, they're very specific in the way they talk about it, and they won't, whenever I bring up like intersex and stuff like that, they kind of like shy away from that and kind of like seem to not want to talk about it or to not want to use terms like that. So I don't feel like I feel like I'm not sure if I can identify it as that because I'm not getting any confirmation from my medical professional people that I'm working with, like doctors and stuff. But I also know, like, from reading intersex blogs, that doctors are pretty unreliable about things like that. So, yeah, I don't really know what to say about it. But basically, like, when I was younger, doctors thought that I might have had an intersex condition because of, like, the way that certain parts of my body were developing. Like, I had broader shoulders and a wider set chest, and I had really hairy arms from a really young age, and I had a missing section of muscle in my torso, and for some reason they thought that that might have been indicative of me having an intersex condition. But then they did ultrasounds and stuff like that, and then once they found out that my internal organs were where they were supposed to be, then they kind of dismissed it. And then I found out recently that I do have physical abnormalities that I have had for my whole life that I didn't realize weren't normal until I went to the doctor about it recently, like in the past couple of months. And it turns out that they're not. Thank you, Ontario Sex Ed, for, letting me live with something like that for my whole life and thinking that it's just totally normal. I'm not going to go into specifics about what it is because it's something that I'm, it's personal. It's not something I really want to talk about. But yeah, it does affect aspects of my life and has, but I've just been kind of ignoring it because I was, I guess, too embarrassed to ask, and I just figured that it was normal and I couldn't really find any information about it. But I just found out that it wasn't, and now I'm having to go for all these tests. I already went for an ultrasound, and the doctor said that he didn't, like, the way he described it when I looked it up, like, when I looked up how he described it, it was listed as, like, a difference in sexual development, which is the clinical term for, like, what they're calling intersex conditions now. But when I asked him about it, like, he wouldn't, like, use any of the words, and I'm just being sent for, like, more tests and stuff. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to talk about a lot of the, like, psychological aspects of, like, realizing that I might have an intersex condition. or probably have an intersex condition or do have an intersex condition. I'm really just hesitant to claim the term for myself before I kind of am able to talk to actual intersex people about it, because I don't want to be appropriating anything. Like, I've talked to like one other intersex person about it, and they said that that I would be allowed to like call myself intersex, but I don't really know how I feel about using that term right now, and I don't know. I'm not part of the intersex community. I feel kind of awkward about it. And also just like my personal relationship to the term, like, I guess I just wanted to discuss like my own like mental processes of realizing that I might have an intersex condition, because basically like I've kind of covertly my whole life thought I was intersex, and like kind of bugged doctors to give me a karyotype test, and they refused, because even though like there was suspicions of me being intersex when I was younger, they said that like it wouldn't do me any good to know that information for some reason. So even though like, it's a really simple test, they wouldn't my covering doctor like wouldn't send me for a karyotype test, or she originally did, but then the hospital that she sent me to was like wouldn't give it to me because I was over 18, and then after that she like wouldn't look into it any farther. But yeah, like my whole life I've kind of thought that I was intersex, for reasons that I couldn't explain other than just like the thing when I was younger, and kind of like hoped that I was, because I thought in some way like if I found out that I was intersex, then it would like justify my non-binary gender identity. But like it's much different now that I'm dealing with the fact that that might actually like be a reality for me, and so I guess that's kind of what I'm making this video about, even though this is going on for a really long time, to get to the point, because I thought that it would be such a relief, and I thought that it would be something that I would be really happy about, if I found out that I was intersex, but that's not how I feel about it now that it's actually, you know, a tangible possibility. I kind of am dealing with these feelings of, I feel like I'm, like there's something wrong with me. I feel kind of, like, gross. Like, I feel like I can't really talk to people about it because I feel like they'll think it's gross. Or that I feel like it kind of, like, I thought that finding out that I was intersex would be validating for my gender identity, but in a way I feel like it kind of separates me from my gender identity, because I can't really explain how or why I feel that way, but I don't know, I feel like it kind of undermines what I've been doing as a non-binary person and trying to separate myself from like the idea that people can only be non-binary if they're intersex, because I feel like there's this really sexist notion that the only people who are like allowed to have a non-binary gender identity would be people who were intersex, and that's an idea that I've been exposed to, and I feel like that's been an idea that I've been kind of like fighting against as someone who thought that they were dyadic and identified as non-binary, and so in a weird way, I feel like it kind of compromises my role in the non-binary community, and like it doesn't really feel validating of my gender identity in the way that I thought it was going to. But yeah, I'm sorry if anything that I'm saying is offensive. I'm just kind of trying to be candid about my mental processes about this, and trying to connect with anyone who's kind of going through the same type of thing, and if there are any intersex people watching who kind of have an opinion or have any like thing to say to me about this, then I'd appreciate to hear from you, because I really don't know any intersex people, and that's also kind of like a problem with what I'm dealing with right now, because I feel like I kind of want to talk about this, and it's something that I'm kind of like trying to reconcile, and I don't know anyone who's intersex, so that is like all the more isolating. Like I thought it would be this kind of great experience, and it's just like, oh yeah, this totally explains my gender identity and everything like that, but in reality it's just kind of very isolating, and I feel like this kind of like thing that I should be almost ashamed of, that I can't really talk to anyone about, and I don't know anyone else who has this kind of experience. So I feel kind of isolated in that sense. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't mean for this video to be like emotional or weird or anything like that. But I guess I'm just trying to express, because I feel like the idea of like being intersex as validating your gender identity as a non-binary person is a very common idea within the non-binary community. And so I'm just kind of making this video as a non-binary person who kind of thought that, and then found out that they were, or that they might be, and then like just kind of trying to explain that like it's not, like, it doesn't feel like how you think it would feel as a non-binary person to find out that you're intersex. It's not just like this amazing like validating thing. It's kind of something that is a little bit difficult to deal with. And I hope I'm not being offensive to intersex people. I'm not meaning it in that way at all, but I just mean like trying to incorporate that into your self-concept and deal with, I guess, like internalized issues to do with intersex things is something that I wasn't expecting before this happened. So yeah, I guess I'm just kind of publicly voicing my own internal monologue about, or my own internal like experience about how I'm dealing with this. And I'd really, again, like I'd really love to hear from any intersex people watching this video. Like I would really, it's kind of like 50% of the reason why I'm making this video is because if there are any intersex people watching, like I'd really like to talk to you, or hear what you have to say about anything that I'm saying. And yeah, that's pretty much all this video is about. Kind of random, but yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. So I guess I'll just sign off. Peace out.